As frontline employees, you are our customers' first and often only point of contact. Our customers, particularly customers with disabilities, count on you to make transit service accessible for them.
Well, there are literally hundreds of kinds of disabilities that people can have. Some are from birth, some are age-related, some are injuries or accidents.
I am totally blind, and I've been blind since very nearly after birth.
I'm paraplegic. I had a back injury close to 30 years ago.
I have a form of muscular dystrophy. I used a scooter for a number of years, and now I've used a motorized wheelchair for the last 6 years.
Today, we will show you how to assist customers with disabilities who choose to use our accessible rail service. The Americans with Disabilities Act, a federal civil rights law established in July of 1990, ensures that people with disabilities have equal access to public accommodations, including transportation. The law mandates that the CTA follows ADA regulations when providing transit services to customers with disabilities.
The Americans with Disabilities Act is civil rights legislation that pertains to people with disabilities and that they have a right not to be discriminated against in society. What that means for public transit is that we are legally obligated to provide train and bus service that accommodates the needs of people with disabilities. It means removing physical barriers to people using the train system and the buses, and that our employees offer whatever assistance might be needed to help a person ride our system. But above and beyond the fact that it's legally required that we do it, it's just the right thing to do.
It is important that you become more aware of the expectations of both customers with disabilities and seniors who rely on the CTA as their principal means of transportation. Our goal is to make sure customers feel that they can rely on you and that they are comfortable while riding the CTA.
Approach the customer with a disability and ask, would you like some assistance? If the person is blind or visually impaired, introduce yourself. I'm the customer assistant, or I'm the rail train operator. Do you need some assistance? And if the person says yes, certainly follow whatever instructions or information they give you of what type of assistance. And if they say no, then let it go. So thank you.
In most cases, difficulties providing service to CTA customers with disabilities could be avoided by simply extending common courtesy and following standard operating procedures. We will look at these guidelines as we explore the tools and resources available at stations and on rail cars. We will look at fare collection equipment, assistive devices such as gap fillers, signage with braille and raised print, and communication tools used by customers who need to communicate with you. Purchasing or adding value to a fare card at the transit card vending machine is usually performed by the customer. However, CTA personnel must also be familiar with its operation and know how to assist customers if assistance is requested. The TCVM has braille and raised print indicators and is speech-enabled. The TCVM also provides audio directions to assist customers who are blind or visually impaired to purchase fare media. The Visitor Pass machine is another user-friendly, self-service fare collection device used to purchase visitor passes. It accepts bills, coins, and debit credit cards. Other features include an audio box capable of both Spanish and English translation, braille and raised print numbers and signage, and a large-sized instructional display. When entering and exiting the station's paid area, the wheelchair-accessible gate is a turnstile that provides easy station access for all customers, particularly customers using wheelchairs. A swing gate unlatches and permits entry of one customer for every fare paid. To exit the station, customers simply push the button on the paid side of the turnstile. The wheelchair-accessible gate accepts all valid fare cards for full and reduced fare. Some customers may request assistance when inserting and removing their fare media, especially customers who must insert both an RTA reduced fare permit and a fare card to complete the reduced fare transaction.
Assistive devices can be anything from a wheelchair or a motorized scooter to a cane or a walker or a service animal. The most common service animal is what people think of as a seeing eye dog for someone who's blind. But there are hearing dogs and there are other types of animals that perform some function for someone with a disability that helps them travel. And under the law and under CTA policy, we must accommodate service animals. In a more extreme case, somebody may actually travel with a personal care attendant. And we have rules involving our fares and policies that allow somebody to have an attendant with them at all times if that is what the person needs to ride public transit.
Many of our stations are equipped with elevators or ramps that make rail service accessible. Elevators take customers directly to platforms where they board the train. Buttons with braille and raised print signage operate the elevator and will provide emergency communication with the control center. Customer assistance must monitor the condition of elevators and contact control when elevators become defective or dirty. All customers have the right to choose the rail car on which they wish to ride, including customers using wheelchairs. If the priority seating area is full, simply ask the customers already seated there if they are willing to move. If they don't choose to move, choose another car. Keep in mind that the person sitting in that seat may have a hidden disability. No one should be forced or pressured to give up their seat. When customers using mobility devices board the train, the gap filler is used to help them negotiate the gap between the floor of the rail car and the station platform. At accessible stations, at least 2 gap fillers are available on each platform in locked cabinets. When a customer with a disability requires use of the gap filler, unlock the gap filler cabinet using the MUDC key. Roll, do not carry, the gap filler to the door of the car the customer wishes to board. Wheelchair securement areas are provided on rail cars displaying the universal symbol of accessibility. Position the device at an angle, placing one set of stabilizing bars between the sensitive edges and the outer edge of the door sill. Lower the opposite end in the same manner. Be certain the gap filler cannot slide out of position. Allow the passenger to board or alight the train. Return the gap filler to its cabinet and secure it. First, it is important to say, it is not mandatory that customers using wheelchairs use the available securement devices. Some customers may choose to ride near the door, away from the securement area. However, some customers will accept your offer of assistance to access the securement area and to secure their wheelchair. Again, to assist, politely ask customers in the priority seating area to move, then lift the seat to allow wheelchair access. Follow the customer's directions to further secure the chair using the straps and belts available. The 1043 notification is a form of communication between the customer assistant, operator, and controller that enables them to work together to provide service to customers traveling with mobility devices. After the customer assistant assists in boarding the customer, CAs must personally notify the operator and record the customer's destination on a 1043 notification slip. After advising the operator, the CA must contact control and relay the same information so that assistance will be available when the customer arrives at their intended destination. Announcements are important to all customers. Being well informed of station stops, specific geographic locations, and transit change points makes travel easier and less confusing.
The announcements are very helpful, especially in areas where I'm not familiar in terms of where I'm going or the route. To be able to hear the announcement of the stops kind of gives me an idea of how long it takes me to get to where I need to be.
On trains, use the pre-recorded announcement system when approaching and leaving each station. While standing in a station serving multiple rail routes, use both the exterior and interior speakers to announce the train and its destination. Doing so allows customers, particularly customers with vision impairment, to adequately prepare to board the correct train and alight at the right stop. Braille and raised print signage is strategically placed at each station and on all rail cars. Signage is located in rail station elevators, at station kiosks, on station platforms, and in close reach of the customer call button on platforms. On rail cars, signage is located to the right of car doors so that blind and visually impaired customers can identify the car number. Braille and raised print are also located near the passenger intercom button. The elevator status board alerts customers about inoperable elevators in the system. Customer assistants must periodically, during their tour of duty, call the Control Center elevator status line to receive updates about unavailable elevators. It is important for customers to know the status of system elevators in advance, before traveling to a station where an elevator is not working. You must provide customers who intend to travel to a station where there is an inoperable elevator with alternate travel directions to assist them in completing their trip. We want to avoid customers becoming caught between travel locations and having to backtrack to their initial point of travel. To assist you in determining alternate travel, check the Kiosk Reference Manual, CTA System Map, or contact the Control Center. The public address system is used by RTOs to announce travel information throughout the train. It is also activated to make special announcements about service delays. Each railcar is equipped with a flashing red light that alerts customers when a train is changing to express service and will not be making all scheduled stops. This flashing light is important to customers who are deaf or hard of hearing and may not be able to hear the announcement you make concerning this change in service. When changing to express service, be sure to activate the light by changing the destination signs to express. Make both interior and exterior announcements, and give customers time to acknowledge and react to this change in service. If they are leaving the train, they may need extra time to collect their belongings and exit.